login for Hulu.
The camera's going. Hi everyone, it's Cass. Welcome back to my channel, What Cass Read. Today, I know it's in the middle of January already, but we're finally gonna do my December wrap up. So for the month of December, I ended up reading only 3 books. And you know what? I was totally fine with that. 2 of them happened to be on audiobook, and then 1 of them was a physical read that I brought with me on vacation. I did have my Christmas TBR where I thought I was gonna get through more, but you know, when you're on vacation, sometimes you're also just on vacation. So that's why I only have 3 reads today to share with you, but let's get to it. So the first book that I ended up finishing up for the month of December, this is Red Sister, written by Mark Lawrence. This is book number 1 of the Book of the Ancestor trilogy. This book is the second Mark Lawrence book that I ended up reading this year. I wasn't filming for a couple of months, as some of you may recall, in the summertime, but I did end up finishing Prince of Thorns, which was his very first novel that he came out with. I had a little bit of trepidation to begin another series of his because I liked Prince of Thorns. That ended up being like a 3.5-star read for me. But I was like, oh, you know, we'll see what happens. And a lot of people had a lot of good things to say about Red Sister. And then this ended up being a 4-star read. This is one of the books that I read on audiobook. The audiobook narrator was so great. Her voices were incredible, and that really helped propel the story to me. I just couldn't get enough of it. So Red Sister is the story of Nona Gray. She is a young child by the first time that we end up meeting up with her, and she's got a really mysterious backstory. And it's mysterious to us because every single time someone asks her for her backstory, she doesn't end up telling it in its entirety or isn't entirely truthful with what she tells everybody. But she ends up committing this like really horrible, heinous act, and that's where we kind of catch up with her. She is in the prison and about to be sent to the gallows when the abbess of Sweet Mercy Convent actually comes to rescue her from the hangman's noose. And that's how we start our story. There's just a lot of mystery surrounding Nona Gray. This world was so awesome. I should really do a whole review on Red Sister and Gray Sister because the world building was just so incredible. But there are 4 different tribes of early human civilization in this world, and there are certain people who, as the years have gone on, have manifested different powers based off of these 4 original tribes. Like, this story kind of sets you up to think that there could be a chosen one, and there is definitely this chosen one mythology in here, but is it Nona Gray or is it not? That's kind of where the storyline takes off, is the chosen one may not be our main character, but it may also be our main character, and there's just a lot of really cool mystery involved with this. She ends up growing up in the Sweet Mercy Convent. There is just an amazing cast of characters. I did end up giving Red Sister and Gray Sister the Best Ensemble Cast Award for my 2018 Book Awards because I just couldn't choose a favorite. All the novices were really great. They do some like really amazing weapons training and martial arts training, so you know that's my jam. Then the next book that I finished, I ended up like taking my sweet time with Gray Sister. Again, because I was on that vacation, so I thought I was gonna get more audiobook listening done than I actually did. But to be honest, the first day of my road trip, I was sleeping. So Gray Sister picks up maybe a year after the events of Red Sister, but there's some certain flashbacks that kind of put some puzzle pieces together for us as we pick right back up from some of the action where we ended off with Red Sister. This was awesome. This was a 5-star read. This ended up being the only 5-star read for me that I had in December, but it was incredible. This was a case of like the second book in a trilogy. You can always get a little bit nervous, like, is this going to be a copy of the first one? Is it going to be kind of a flop, or is it going to excel the storyline? And I feel like Gray Sister took everything that we learned from Red Sister and upped the ante quite a bit. And it's just made me really excited for Holy Sister, which is one of my most anticipated 2019 reads. That comes out in April and I cannot wait. I also do plan on listening to Holy Sister on audiobook because, like I said, the same audiobook narrator narrated this one and it was just awesome. And the final read that I ended up finishing up like in the nick of time on December 31st while I was on the plane to fly home before the stroke of midnight. This is The Hero of Ages, written by Brandon Sanderson. This is the 3rd and final book of the Mistborn trilogy, and I did end up rating this book 4 out of 5 stars. For me, The Well of Ascension just wasn't as strong of a book for me. The Well of Ascension being book number 2, I rated that 2 out of 5 stars. I felt like The reasons why this one maybe gelled with me a little bit more is I felt like we were actually moving somewhere. I felt like the plot was actually going forward and bringing us to this penultimate ending. We harken back to The Final Empire, which is book number 1, quite a bit, and maybe that's why I also really enjoyed this. Some of the lessons that our characters learned, some of the conversations our characters had with other really important characters in The Final Empire, and the conclusion was an amazing wrap-up. I really feel like there were just no more questions left to be had at the very ending of this book, and I was really satisfied with the way that this trilogy ended up wrapping up. If you don't follow me on Twitter, I feel like you should, because this was like a nail biter in terms of like whether or not I felt like I could finish this book in time before the end of the year. I was really trying. I still had a significant number of pages left as I got to like December 30th and December 31st. And when I went to bed on December 30th, I was like, man, I just don't know if this is gonna happen for me. I even like was tweeting everybody, I was like, I don't think this is gonna happen. But pretty much any single time I found myself with a spare moment to be had, I was reading this book, trying desperately to finish it up, and to the point where I got to the airport and I was like, oh my god, I have 150 pages left and I have a 3.5-hour plane ride. I think I can do this. And I did. Entered it into Goodreads so I could make sure it counted for 2018. It was quite a ride for me with this book. Okay, put some comments in the comment section below. Let me know if you've read any of these books. What have you thought about them? I do plan on filming a review for The Hero of Ages. That should be coming up. I don't remember my upload schedule. Again, if you follow me on Twitter, I ended up accidentally permanently deleting my upload schedule, which is really frustrating for me. But The Hero of Ages review is coming up, and I do plan on doing at least Red Sister, but let me know if you want me to combine both Red Sister and Grey Sister into a review, since I read those back to back. But otherwise, you can follow me on my Instagram and Twitter. It's at whatcassread. It's the same as this channel, so it should be super easy to find. And of course, my Goodreads link is always going to be listed down below. Remember that I'm trying to, one of my goals is to write a little blurb at the end of every book that I have read on Goodreads this year. So if you've not already been following me on Goodreads, now is the time to go ahead and add me as a friend, so that way you can see what I'm writing about these books as I finish them. Otherwise, you know how these videos end. I will talk to you later. Bye.